Glad to hear it. Unrivaled fans, make some noise for Unrivaled's Most Valuable Player of the Year, presented by Miller Lite, from the Lunar Owls, number 24, the one, the only, Naphesea Collier. Buddy!
Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed queen of the court, the defensive mastermind, the larger-than-life personality who, wait for it, managed to take herself out of the biggest games of Unrivaled with an injury. Talk about impeccable timing. 1 minute, she's leading her team in a routine blowout, probably already planning her victory dance for the finals, and the next, bam. Wrist says, yeah, I'm out.
So this is something you don't want to see. And honestly, to be fair, there's probably some horrible people in this comment section where you do want to see it. But you don't want to see any players getting hurt. And Angel Reese, after injuring her wrist last season, getting surgery on her injured wrist, has now injured her wrist again and looked in severe pain in the Rose win in Unrivaled.
Now, let's pause here for a second. This is the same wrist she had surgically repaired. The same wrist that you'd think, after months of rehab, might have been protected with, I don't know, caution. But no, Reese, in all her over-the-top high-energy glory, managed to land herself on the sidelines just when things got interesting. And that's where the real entertainment began.
Okay, Angel Reese was like, she was giving me flashbacks, okay? I kept getting nightmares from last year, 2024 WNBA season, towards the end of the regular season, when Angel Reese had that hairline injury, fracture injury, whatever, to her wrist, okay? And she actually had to go to surgery, and it prematurely ended her career that season. She had to sit out for the rest of the remaining season, okay? And she kept on grabbing at her wrist, and you could tell that she was in pain. She was doing this in the first quarter of tonight's Unrivaled League game. She was still moving and grooving, trying to make them layups. Again, she was doing her layups, okay? She had energy like the Energizer Bunny. Again, it was very apparent that she was in pain due to her wrist. And I believe it's the same wrist, the right wrist, where she had got surgery on in the past 2024 season.
Because while Reese was busy icing her wrist, Napheesa Collier was busy making a statement. And not just any statement, a loud, undeniable MVP-level takeover. First, she puts up an absurd 25.7 points per game to secure the MVP title, leaving no doubt about who the best player on the court was. But she didn't stop there. Just in case anyone still had questions, she followed it by dropping 27 points in her final game. Dominance? That's an understatement. Collier wasn't just playing basketball, she was putting on a masterclass. Every possession, every shot, every clutch moment belonged to her. It was her league, her stage, and she made sure everyone knew it. Meanwhile, Reese? Well, she had a front row seat to the Naphesea Collier show, on Twitter, of course. While she was scrolling, the real action was unfolding without her.
Give it up for Queen Fee, everybody! Congratulations, Fee. All right, as we continue to honor our MVP, we're going to get a few words from Unrivaled Commissioner Mickey Lawler. I'm going to pass you the mic.
Thank you, Taylor. Fee, you are the queen of the highest court in the land. And that is not only because of your remarkable achievements as a world-class top athlete, but also because what you have co-created with Brianna Stewart, who we're missing here tonight very much. And what you have co-created has changed the trajectory for your fellow players, for every stakeholder in basketball, and every lover of basketball.
Thank you. On behalf of Miller Lite, I'm proud to celebrate this historic achievement. Congratulations, Napheesa.
Trophy time. How beautiful is this, Fee? Well, you know, we've got to talk to the woman of the hour here. You know, Fee, dominant is one of the many words we have all used to describe your performances so far this season. How do you define dominance, and how have you shown that on the court, night in and night out?
I just have to say, I wouldn't be here without my team and my coaches. Yes, give it up for them. They push me every day to be my best, every single one of them. We're in the weight room together, we're in training together, we come here, we compete every day, and this is not a solo award, this is a team award, so I want to say thank you to them.
Unrivaled didn't just survive without Reese, it thrived. The spotlight didn't dim, it simply shifted. And in the process, Collier cemented herself as the real star of the tournament. Because while some players talk about being game changers, others actually go out and do it. And Napheesa Collier, she did it. But don't worry, Reese still got her little trophy. A Defensive Player of the Year award, which, let's be honest, felt more like the league saying, hey, thanks for showing up before you got hurt. Sure, defense wins championships, but it doesn't exactly headline them. While Reese's award was nice, it was more of a footnote in the bigger story that was Napheesa Collier's absolute takeover. Collier wasn't just making highlight reels, she was rewriting the script. She played like a superstar, took home MVP honors, and proved she was the true face of Unrivaled. Meanwhile, Reese's impact faded the moment she stepped off the court. The narrative didn't revolve around her anymore. The buzz, the energy, the defining moments of the league's inaugural season, they belonged to Collier.
Congratulations to Angel Reese. She got another first ever at Unrivaled. Of course, everything at Unrivaled this year is the first ever since it's the inaugural season, but she was named to the all-second team, first ever all-second team at Unrivaled. Obviously, she had gotten the first ejection, which made some news earlier in the season, and now she's been named the first ever Unrivaled Defensive Player of the Year. And to me, the thing that stands out the most about Angel defensively is her versatility.
And let's be real, awards like Defensive Player of the Year are respectable, but they don't shake the league. Nobody's lining up to watch someone contest shots and crash the boards. Fans want dominance, star power, and game-changing performances. They want what Collier delivered. The truth is, Unrivaled didn't need Reese. The league moved on, the fans moved on, and the competition kept rolling. And when the dust settled, the only name that really mattered was Napheesa Collier. Because in a league built on showcasing talent, the biggest takeaway from this season was simple. Collier wasn't just good, she was the star. Now, the most chef's kiss moment of this entire saga, Reese's cryptic X-post. God, thank you for getting me through the highs and lows. Ah yes, the go-to passive-aggressive, I'm absolutely not bothered but totally bothered social media moment. You can almost picture the deep sigh, the dramatic pause, the inner debate before hitting post. Highs and lows? Let's be real. What high are we even talking about? The pre-playoff hype, the Instagram engagement? Because the only true low here was having to sit back and watch Napheesa Collier steal the show without you.
Y'all got the news just like I got the news. Unrivaled just announced your 2025 Defensive Player of the Year is the one and only Chi-Town Barbie, Bayou Barbie, Lockdown Barbie, whatever you want to, hey, say what you want to say.
And let's talk about that show. Collier wasn't just filling a gap, she was redefining the entire narrative. She wasn't waiting for permission to shine. She took the spotlight and made herself the moment. Every game she played was a reminder that talent speaks louder than tweets. Every bucket, every rebound, every MVP caliber performance solidified her as the face of Unrivaled. While Reese was left throwing vague, introspective posts into the void, Collier was out there making history. Of course, social media ate it up. The fans? They noticed. The analysts? They had a field day. And Reese? Well, she had two options. Double down on the cryptic subtweets or face the reality that the league didn't need her drama. It needed dominance. And Collier, she delivered. But wait, it gets even better. Because just when you think this whole saga couldn't get any juicier, Caitlin Clark's fans showed up like it was their personal Super Bowl, and they weren't just happy, oh no, they were ecstatic. This was the kind of moment they had been waiting for. The perfect opportunity to remind Reese that no, the world does not revolve around her.
You've mentioned you are the inaugural MVP for a league that you co-created, so things are looking up right now for Napheesa Collier. How have your performances met your expectations that you had for season 1 of Unrivaled?
I think I just come in exactly what I said, every day trying to get a little bit better. That's what our mantra was the entire season, just get a little bit better, stack days every day, and then everything else takes care of itself.
See, Reese has spent so much time playing the villain, positioning herself as the anti-Clark, the disruptor, the one who thrives on tension and rivalry. And for a while, it worked. It fueled the headlines, kept social media buzzing, and made every matchup between them feel like must-watch TV. But now she was on the outside looking in, watching as Unrivaled carried on just fine without her. And Clark's fans? They were thriving in that reality. For them, this was poetic justice. Reese, who never missed a chance to stir the pot, now found herself completely sidelined, both literally and figuratively, and nothing made Clark's supporters happier than seeing the tables turn. They flooded social media with memes, highlight reels of Collier's dominance, and plenty of not-so-subtle reminders that the show always goes on, whether Reese is in it or not. And honestly, the timing couldn't have been worse for Reese. She built her brand on being in the spotlight, on being the center of attention. But now, all that attention, it had shifted, not just to Collier, but to the bigger picture. Great basketball being played at a high level, without the theatrics and drama that usually followed Reese. The irony. This should have been her moment. Unrivaled was built for stars like her, designed to showcase the biggest personalities in the game. Yet here she was, watching from the sidelines as Collier ran the show. Clark's fans had their fun, and the league proved that no one player, no matter how polarizing, was bigger than the game itself. That's a tough pill to swallow, but hey, at least she had X to keep her company.
And then today, we've got Angel Reese, and this is what they're mad about, right? Things like this. Me coming out, making a video and saying, well, wait a minute. Yeah, she won this award, but what does it really mean exactly? Okay, and I'm talking about the Unrivaled, and you may be like, Rhodes, what the hell is an Unrivaled? Well, look, I would not fault you if that was your response to said league, right? It's kind of the XFL, UFL of the women's professional basketball leagues. And today, as we stand, one Angel Reese has been named the Defensive Player of the Year. Stab us all right in the eye hole, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, her fans, they're trying to take victory laps today.
And can you blame them? Reese spent the last year making sure the spotlight never left her, talking big and ensuring her name stayed in every headline, whether she earned it or not. But the moment she actually had to back it up, her wrist waved the white flag. You couldn't script this better if you tried. And now, let's be real about this so-called rivalry between Reese and Napheesa Collier. After what just happened in Unrivaled, can we even call it that anymore? Rivalries are built on two competitors going back and forth, pushing each other, matching fire with fire. What happened here wasn't a battle, it was a one-woman show, starring Collier. While Reese was sidelined, Collier didn't just win, she dominated. She played at a level that made it impossible to ignore her, securing MVP with 25.7 points per game and then dropping 27 in the championship like it was just another day at the office. Meanwhile, Reese had no choice but to sit back and watch. And that's got a sting, not just physically, but mentally. The league moved on without her. The fans were entertained without her. The championship was won without her. And most importantly, the headlines weren't about her. Collier wasn't just great, she was defining. She turned Unrivaled into her personal stage, where every shot, every moment, every play mattered. While some players manufacture hype, Collier let her game do all the talking.
And now we welcome in the winner, Napheesa Collier, here at Sports Center. Napheesa, congratulations. Before the whole thing started, you look at the field, the best players in the world. How did you size up your chances to win it all?
I always feel good. Of course, I'm always going to, bet on myself. I am really confident in my skill set, but I definitely knew I would have to bring my A game. Anyone can win or lose any night, as we've seen. And there was some really great competition, so it was fun.
So 200 grand, nothing to sneeze at, right?
So, is this still a rivalry? Number rivalries require two sides actually competing. What we just saw was a statement. Napheesa Collier is in a league of her own. But of course, Reese isn't just going to take this quietly. Oh no, if there's one thing she's better at than basketball, it's making sure people are talking about Angel Reese. So, expect the over-the-top comeback tour. Expect the unnecessary motivational posts, the gym workout videos, the dramatic press conferences about proving the haters wrong. Because in Reese's world, it's never just basketball, it's the narrative. And right now, the narrative is looking rough. And let's be honest, this whole thing was inevitable. Reese has spent her entire career building up her personal brand, making herself the loudest voice in the room. But when you build your brand on being the personality, you also set yourself up for the biggest falls. And oh boy, was this a fall.
Angel Reese fans are celebrating a championship that she didn't even take part in the playoffs for. Are you serious right now? I would argue the team got better and won it because she didn't play. This should be frightening to Chicago Sky fans.
Let's go back to the injury for a second. This isn't just some random fluke accident. This is a surgically repaired wrist, meaning it was already a weak point, something that required extra care, extra attention, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of caution. But instead, Reese was playing like she was invincible, as if her body was just going to magically hold up forever. Spoiler alert, it didn't. And you know what the funniest part is? The fact that everyone knew the second she got injured that this was the end of her unrivaled run. There was no suspense. No, maybe she'll push through. Just an immediate realization that she was done. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Because while Reese was stuck on the bench, Collier was putting together one of the most dominant performances in the league's short history. It's almost poetic. Oh, and let's not forget the media. Because if there's one thing the sports world loves, it's a good comeback story. So, get ready for the over-the-top coverage of Reese's road to recovery, complete with dramatic training montages and interviews where she talks about how this only made her stronger. Because of course, that's coming. There's no way Reese lets Collier steal the shine without at least trying to insert herself back into the conversation.
Angel Reese fans are celebrating a championship that she didn't even take part in the playoffs for. Are you serious right now? I would argue the team got better and won it because she didn't play. This should be frightening to Chicago Sky fans.
But here's the problem. Winning Defensive Player of the Year isn't enough to keep her at the top of the conversation. Not when Collier just ran away with everything else. Not when Caitlin Clark's fans are openly mocking her online. And definitely not when the entire basketball world just watched Unrivaled's biggest games happen without her. That's the part that's going to sting the most. The games went on. The league didn't collapse. And the biggest star of Unrivaled? It wasn't Angel Reese. And let's face it, that's the real loss here. Reese has always positioned herself as the center of attention. But what happens when that attention moves on? What happens when she's no longer the story? Because right now, the story is Collier's dominance, Clark's growing influence, and Reese's absence. She's not leading the conversation. She's reacting to it.
Because it seems like when Angel's not involved, the other players all come together and play as a team when she's not hogging the ball, refusing to give it up, refusing to throw it out to perimeter players, and give other open people opportunities to take shots. Also, one could argue their best scorer, Kennedy Carter, is no longer on the team. Possibly because of Angel Reese. I don't know. I mean, I find it very interesting, and a lot of people, they're calling BS this morning. All right. People are like, oh, yeah, she's now won a championship in the pros. She wasn't involved.
So what's next? Well, Reese has two choices. She can either come back and actually prove that she's more than just talk, that she's capable of leading a team to a championship, that she's worthy of all the hype she's built around herself. Or she can keep leaning into the drama, keep talking, keep making excuses, and watch as the basketball world moves on without her. And let's be honest, we all know which path she's going to take. Because at the end of the day, Angel Reese isn't about basketball. She's about Angel Reese. And right now, Angel Reese just got a reality check she wasn't ready for.